Hey guys, welcome back. This is your Ziegler Coach, Choose to Win Coach Michael Marshawn, your Texas broker and San Antonio realtor. Jumping back on today, I wanted to continue where we left off last week, talking about database. So if you did not watch last week's video, then I want you to go back and watch that. And if you're familiar with the database, but you haven't actually taken the time to put it together, then I want you to go ahead and stop and put it together, because this video is going to go into more detail on qualifying and sorting that database. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and jump in, and I'm going to assume that you have some kind of a database, ideally on a spreadsheet. I like Excel. I've used Google Docs. Or Google Sheets is a free version if you want to use that. It acts just like, and you can download it just like a CSV or Excel spreadsheet or any other format that you want to use. That's been very effective for me because, as I mentioned, I've changed brokerages a couple times, and every time I change brokerages, all that's really changed is my logo. So from a client perspective, they've been completely insulated from that, and they haven't noticed any real change other than the logo. So what that's allowed me to do is keep everything in one place and not have to worry about transferring it in and out 4 different times as I've changed brokerages. So as you can see, if you're looking at my screen here, this is my Referral Maker CRM. Now, there's a lot of different CRMs out there. Some are free, some you have to pay for. There's a very wide variety in what they do and what they offer. This one I chose, and I've tried several of them. And this is the one that I ended up landing on simply because it's specific to referral database systems. So the whole point of this entire CRM, and CRM is just a client relations management system, and the whole purpose of this is to help keep track of your database, to grow your database, and to give you the action steps specific to each client in your database. So I mentioned qualifying your database. Now, if you look at mine, I'm starting at the bottom here. So these bottom people are all these. Now, these are people that are in my database, but these are not people that I mail to. These are the people that'll get the email updates from me once a month. As you can see, there's about 219 people in there. The bottom portion of these are all Ds. And basically, these are people that, for a variety of reasons, have ended up in the D column. They're not people that I want to delete completely. I haven't given up on them necessarily, but they're also not part of my top 100. So only my top 100 people, those are going to be my Cs and above. So as you can see, I've got a lot of Ds, and those are people that all they get from me is the monthly email. Now, if you get up to the C category, this is where I start. This is kind of my top 100 people. And basically what this is these are the people that I have the best relationship with, and it goes in ascending order. So the C's I have qualified, and by qualifying them, that simply means that I've had a conversation with them, and I would be the realtor that they use if they were buying a house, or if they heard of somebody that was buying a house. So they're not committed to another realtor. They're not, they don't have another realtor in the family. They don't have a realtor that they've used previously, at least not one that they would do business with again. So these are my C's, and these are people that I'm working on actively growing the relationship with. Generally speaking, my C's are mostly people that I met, either around my neighborhood. I've met people at, standing in line at the grocery store, at the bank, just kind of wherever you happen to run into people. There's a dialogue that you can use to qualify them on the spot. And I'm going to get into that in a little bit later here. But just getting started, C's are kind of my least deep relationship. So I have a lot of C's, and then it gets into B's. These are people that I have a decent relationship with, but I'm not super close with. So B's, again, moving on up into A's. Now, when I get into my A category, generally anybody that's an A or an A plus is going to be somebody that I have actually done a deal with, or that has sent me some kind of a referral already. So if they're in the A plus category, then these are people that have sent multiple referrals, or people that have done multiple deals with me. So they move up to the A plus category, and that's kind of my highest ranking. So anybody that's an A plus category, these are people that I talk to. Generally, I will call them at least once a month. A lot of times I will call my A's once a month as well, because I'm trying to stay on their radar, and those are more of my hot people, and they're people that I have a deeper relationship with and some kind of pre-existing history. So By default, the A's and the A pluses are going to be the people that get the most attention in my database. Now, everybody that's an A through a C is going to get, on a monthly basis, they're going to get, at a minimum, they're going to get a letter from me. They're going to get an email from me. And like I said in the last video, those two correspond. This right here is a cover letter, and this is the one that went out last month. And basically, this previous month's letter is working on budgeting and saving. So what are you saving for? It just gives a kind of a brief description. And then it attached to that, or behind that in the same envelope, is an actual printed out, very professional looking flyer, two-sided, double-sided. So this is something that the system generates for me. This is not something that I have to do on my own. If you're doing this on your own, it doesn't have to be anything this fancy. When I was first starting out, I mean, the first 2 or 3 years I was in the business, I did not pay for this particular system. I would use something like, like Canva. If you go to Canva, then there's a whole sea of tools that you can use to basically generate something like this. It has to have time and you have to have some level of creativity. But basically, if you can come up with some content relating to real estate, relating to finances, in this case, whatever you choose to write on, then you can create your own version of this and you don't have to pay for it. So like I said, this is my physical mailer. So they're actually going to get a physical copy of this in their mailbox every single month. Typically, I send it out very late in the month. So for example, this month, I'm going to be sending it out probably in the last week of April. And then that puts it basically in their mailbox. The goal is that it's in their mailbox that first week. Usually within the first, 1 to 5 days is kind of my goal. So I want it to be there very close to the start of the month. And again, that's these two pieces and that goes to them, and that's something that they get every single month. So as I mentioned, there's a corresponding email that goes out every single month as well. So typically, like I said, the physical letter that's in their mailbox, I would usually get there in the first couple days of the month. And then around the 15th, I send out a very similar corresponding email. As you remember, this is dealing with financial goals, saving strategies to reach your financial goals. And the email that is going to go out this month, or that went out last month rather, is on a very similar topic: smart ways to reduce and avoid debt. So they're going to get an email that looks like it's coming from me. It's actually coming from, as you can see here, the system that generated it for me. And I asked it to go ahead and send it for me automatically. So it automatically sends it to everybody in my database on the 15th of every single month. And basically, it's the same topic. So they've gotten a topic on finances, and now they're getting a topic, a little bit different section, but still on finances and financial freedom and things they can do to move themselves forward. And again, it's got a lot of really good information. If they want to, they can go and download it, print it off, whatever they want to do. And then, of course, it's got my signature and all my information at the bottom. So this is a second contact for the month. So if I do nothing else with them that month, they've gotten 2 points of contact from me, a physical letter and an email. And both of those have relevant, pertinent information that they can find value. And not everybody's going to use everything you send, but it varies from month to month. So this particular month was on finances. Last month was on taxes because we're in the tax season. So it varies every single month. As it gets towards later in the year, there's going to be stuff on, December is probably going to be one on like New Year's goals, or maybe Thanksgiving for the holidays, things like that. So the bigger point is that you don't want to get bogged down so much in the details of what you're sending. You don't want to send complete junk, but it's more important to just be consistent and stay in front of them than it is to get bogged down in the details of what am I going to send? Are they going to appreciate it? Are they going to like it? The point is to be consistent and send something. So whether you're doing this system here, or whether you're going to just something like, maybe you just go on Canva and you create your own quick little thing, you print that off and send it, that's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. For the first 3 years I was in the business, that's what I did. I created all my own stuff. I wasn't particularly great at it, but it was effective enough that it kept me on people's radars. And as I got further into the business and as I got busier, I went ahead and automated this. And this is just another example of how you can leverage something. So again, this isn't something that you have to do, this particular thing. You can hire a completely different company if you want to do it. But the point is that you want to send them something, and a physical letter stands out in the mail now because most of the time people, all they get is junk. So if you send them a physical letter and then you send them a corresponding email, then that's two touch points throughout every single month, whether you call them, text them, pop by, have a get together, whatever the case may be, they're getting at least two touch points. So that's going to help you in your relationship with these people because now you're staying much more top of mind than probably 95% of the realtors out there. So going back to your database, I'm going to put a link to this. I'm going to upload this to Google Drive and I'll put a link to it in the comments. But this is a kind of a short 10-page guide of what you can do to qualify your database. So you've written your names down. You have them on a list, and now is the part where you do more of the heavy lifting of actually qualifying your database. So you're not spending your time on people that have no interest or will not do business with you no matter how much you stay in contact. So as I mentioned, and as you saw on the previous screen, everybody's got a ranking from A to D. Now the D's, technically here they say they should be deleted. I chose not to do that just because they're people that I have some kind of a relationship with. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them, but I also didn't want to delete them. So primarily you're looking at your C, B, A, and A pluses. And for purposes of this, A is your best repeat customer, someone who has sent you multiple referrals. Now, multiple being the key word there. Your A's are past clients or people who send you at least one referral. B's are people who would refer you if asked and shown how. So these are people that like you, that you've qualified and that you know do not have another realtor. Maybe they haven't sent you a referral yet. And then C's, these are going to be new additions to your database. So these are people that you're going to nurture and that you're going to try to grow the relationship with. And then if you have online leads, and you can tag those as an O, and these are basically people that you've never met face to face with, you don't have any kind of a real relationship with, but maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. Now, there's a couple of dialogues, and I'm going to jump into what's called the mayor campaign. And the mayor campaign is actually what you're going to use to qualify every single person in your database. So before you start mailing anybody anything, before you start popping by, before you do anything, you want to make sure you go through and qualify every single person in your database. And again, what that's going to look like is giving everybody a letter or a number of some sort. So you want everybody in your database to have either, I use the system A through D. If you choose to use that, that's great. If you want to come up with your own quantifying number or letter or whatever it is, then that's perfectly fine as well. But the point is that you want to assign them a value because you want to know who is going to get the first of your attention and who is going to be the priority. So as you get busier in any given month, you may not make it past your A pluses, maybe your A's, into your B's or your C's. But that's the whole point of ranking it, is that you know, if I only have this limited amount of time and I can only make 5 calls today, then I want to make sure I call 5 A pluses because those are the top of my relationship food chain. So sorting and qualifying, again, the mayor campaign. Basically what this does is this has a very clear and concise conversation so that people know that at the end of the conversation, you'll know exactly where people stand. Whether they're going to refer you, whether they're very clearly not going to refer you are your two things. And based off that, you can either A, delete them from your database, or B, put them into your database and start nurturing that relationship. So as you can see here, I'm going to upload this again. This is on page 4. So this is a very simple dialogue that you can use. You can use it basically anywhere. I would use it in this instance specifically for qualifying the people that you put on that spreadsheet that you're building your database off of. So the dialogue is a little bit further up on page 3, but we're going to focus on the responses here. So the dialogue is very simple. If you were buying or selling a home or knew somebody that was, do you have an agent that you would refer them to? Now, you're going to get one of 3 responses. Yes, they would refer them to you. Yes, they have somebody that they would refer them to that's not you. Or no, they don't have anyone. So based off those three responses, you can see that you are going to respond the following ways. Now, if they say, yes, I will refer them to you, then your reply is very simple. Glad to hear that. You know I am committed to always giving you excellent service, and I do the same for anyone you ask me to look after. Be sure to call me with their name and number, and I will take great care of them. Now, this is an important detail there is you want them to call you and you want to be the one contacting the referral because 90% of the time, if they just give your information to the person that they're considering referring to you, the contact will never happen because people are notoriously bad. They're either going to lose it, they're going to go browse online and click one of the ads and get contacted by 5 agents that way and completely forget about you. So your chances of converting go way, way up if you can get the person that is doing the referring to send the number directly to you as opposed to passing your information to them. Now, if their answer is yes, they would refer them to you, then that's awesome. You add them to your database, you add them to your client appreciation program, and you're going to now mail to them on a monthly basis. If their response is yes, that they do have somebody that they would refer them to that's not you, then your response is very cordial and very simple. That's great. It's important that you have a qualified professional to work with. And at that point, that's the end of the conversation. You know that you're not going to ever be that person, or at least not right now. So you're not going to waste your time nurturing and trying to grow that relationship. Now, if they answer no, this is somebody that does not have any kind of a commitment. They don't necessarily know you. So you're going to attempt to become that person. So if they respond, no, I don't have anyone, then your reply again is simple. Well, I'd like to be that person. Every month I send out valuable real estate and customer information that my clients find helpful. Would you like to receive that? If they say yes, then that it opens the door for you to establish contact with them, and then you can proceed through the rest of the script to get their contact information. Okay, great. Where is the best place to send that? They're going to give you probably their home or their work address, whatever that is. So they say, probably my home address. Great. What is your address? They're going to give you their address. Okay, great. Now, if something comes up and I need to get a hold of you, what's the best number to reach you at? And I'm going to cover this in just a second, but to continue forward, they're going to give you their number, and then you can close out the conversation by saying, great, I'm looking forward to staying in touch with you. And if you know of anyone who is thinking about buying or selling a home, just give me a call with their name and number, and I'll be happy to follow up and provide excellent service. Now, what you've done is you've established yourself as the person that is going to be their real estate contact for themselves and all of their friends and family going forward. And I used to get hung up on this particular part right here. I was fine getting their name, getting their address, getting all that information, but when it came time to get their phone number, I got a little weirded out by that. I don't know exactly what it was about. I guess I just felt like, why would I need to call them, or what do I need to contact them for? And basically, the way I got around that, or the way I was able to reframe that, was that I have lots of client appreciation events. I like to pop by with people, and I want to make sure that they're home, or that they're going to at least be home that day so they can get whatever I leave for them, things like that. So having a point of contact in terms of the number is very helpful because I can follow up and make sure that they've been getting, the monthly items of value that I'm sending. Every Thanksgiving, I have a pie party where I give pies to pretty much anybody that wants it in my database. So calling and following up on the invitation that I send out for that is another perfect reason to call. So there's a lot of reasons and there's a lot of useful things to having that number. And they're giving you the number, therefore they're giving you permission, and you're telling them that you're going to stay in contact. So when you reach out to them, it's not a complete shock or surprise. And that's, in a nutshell, guys, a database. Now you can use this script. And again, I'm going to upload this and it goes into a lot more details here, tips and tricks, and there's some really good, useful stuff on here. So I would encourage you very strongly to go ahead and read through this. But most importantly, the biggest thing you can do is to start qualifying your database, because you're constantly going to meet people in the real estate industry or in the real estate business. And if you have no system or no method of capturing their information and determining if that's somebody that you should spend your time on, then you're going to spend an exorbitant amount of time and get a very little return on. So just a couple tips. Now they also use something called the Big Three dialogue. Now this is going to be for clients that you have an established relationship with, so you're not going to use this for somebody that you just met. This is going to be more for your established. If they're in your database and maybe they're a C, you could definitely try to use it for that. Another method that I have found a lot of success with is the Ford method. It's FORD, and all that is it basically gives you a framework for having a conversation. And it gives you a framework for deepening the relationship with anybody that you do talk to. So again, this is going to be the Ford method, and it's going to be for people that are already in your database or that you have some kind of an existing relationship with. So the F stands for family. Now you call them, you say, "Hey Jim, what's up? How's the family doing? Just wanted to check in on you guys, see how Marcy, Lulu, whatever their kid's name is, dog's name, whatever their situation may be. You're calling to check on the family." So you talk about the family. Then you can go on to occupation, the O, FO. So their occupation, how's their work been? How's their wife's work been? How's the office life? How have things been with COVID and reentry? And then the R, recreation. So what have they done for fun? What are they going to do for fun? Do they have any plans? Maybe they took a trip and you knew about that. You can follow up and say, "Hey, how was the trip to such and such place?" Or, the summer's coming up. Do you guys have any plans? Are you doing anything fun? And then the D, so that's FORD. And then the D is dreams. So what are their dreams? Is that something that they've even considered? Do they have big dreams, small dreams? Do they have no dreams? Maybe that gives you another avenue, though. If their dreams are something that you can help them with, then that is a quick way and a very great way to deepen that relationship because you're going to provide huge value to them. Maybe their dreams are related to real estate, maybe they're not. But if you have connections outside of real estate that you can use to help further their dreams, and that's going to go a huge, long way towards deepening that relationship. So again, the Mayor campaign and the Ford method are two that I would recommend becoming very familiar with. You can also use the Big Three dialogue. It's similar to the Ford method. I prefer the Ford method just a little bit because for me, it's easier to remember and it's a little more concise in my head. But again, you got to find what's comfortable for you. And I wouldn't worry so much about getting it perfect or customizing it to yourself. Just try to memorize it in as much detail as you can, and then start calling through your database. Even if you have to have it sitting right there in front of you while you call through it, they're not going to know. You're talking on the phone. They're not going to see what's on your computer screen or what's printed out in front of you. So it doesn't sound scripty. It doesn't sound like it's something that you're just reading. It can be a genuine thing. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It can actually be very simple. But the important thing is that you actually follow through and do it. So again, guys, hope that's helpful for you. Again, priority number one is going to be getting all the contact information out there and then going through and actually qualifying these people and giving them a rank. And then once you've done that, then you have a solid, great foundation that you can work with. And eventually, if you want to get out of the real estate business, you're going to have a book of business that you can actually sell.
So guys, hope that helped. If there is anything specific that you want more information on, or like I mentioned last video, you want to give that CRM a trial, give me a call, shoot me a text, email, whatever it is. All my contact information's here, and I'd be happy to get you set up with that free 30-day trial just to give it a run. Anyway, like, subscribe, and be sure and check back next week for my next video.